Hey guys, it's Jeff Farina with Pocketnow.com, and you've already seen our initial unboxing as well as the Part 1 software tour and hardware overview on the Sony Ericsson X10 Mini. In this video, we're going to further extend our coverage by showing you the Part 2 of the software overview video, which will go into further depth on the social networking applications, some of the gaming, as well as the well-famed and well-loved browser test. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back. Right now we're going to take a further look into some of the software that the Sony Ericsson X10 Mini includes and what you can do with it on a software sense. So as I showed you in the previous video, we have the custom UI that they have overlaid here. Now first off, I want to show you some of the social networking aspects of this phone itself. So of course you can actually use the Facebook application, which I can actually load right here. And we'll just go to my profile. Now as you can see, it's actually pretty fast. The speed's pretty good. Backing out of the Facebook app, I'm a huge Twitter user, as many of you already know. Unfortunately, though, I use the official Twitter application on Android, and because this uses Android 1.6, the Twitter app is not available for this device, so I had to use, I believe it's pronounced Twitter. So, we can pull this up right now. Once again, it loads fairly fast. I would actually go as far as to say this loads a little faster, if not as fast, than it does on my Evo, which is very surprising based on the CPU speed of the device. So, again, I can scroll through here fairly decently. The scrolling is where it gets slow. As you can see, it's locking up almost right now. Almost like there's too much there to load, which, I mean, I do have a pretty long and full feed here, but it really has trouble keeping up with me on that sense. Next up, I want to actually show you the YouTube application. The YouTube app is something that we look at on every device that we typically use. However, on this one, I was actually very surprised with the speed that it loads at. It keeps up with everything else that I've used so far. As you can see here, I can search. It is the same interface as the other apps on the Android devices. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Pocketnow video page. And now I can actually select the video here. And this is where it's actually going to show off the speaker that I told you about before. As you can hear, the speaker is very, very, very loud. It's loud to the fact that I have to actually turn this down here. Now I'll bring us a little closer so you can kind of see. It's a little soft, I would say a little blurry. However, the colors are very accurate. The camera application can either be accessed through this application grid here or by pressing the actual hardware button for the camera. And what we'll do is we'll actually bring the camera up right now. So it's a little slow to load there. Response time isn't the greatest. And I'll take a picture of my computer stand here. There's the picture I just took. The angle showing the camera, isn't the greatest, but fairly good quality picture. The flash goes off pretty well. And once again, this screen doesn't do it justice. These pictures actually come out pretty good when they're put on the computer itself. Moving into the email portion of the device, I'm a Gmail user myself, so I can actually pull up the Gmail application here. Now we're still in landscape mode. But what we can do is we can, once again, pick an email here. And now it's actually going to load that email itself. It's not the fastest, once again. I mean, I think this processor does hold it back a little bit, but at the same time, it keeps up with the best of them. You can press show pictures here, and now the logo shows up almost instantly, and I can browse the image. I do not have multi-touch, though. That is the one downside here. No multi-touch at all, so kind of have to browse it for what it is. Does a good job of scaling the picture in, but you'll find that you have to go left and right quite often to be able to see the entire email itself with any images. Now Sony is also going to bundle quite a good amount of software on the device itself from the start. They're going to give you Neo Reader to act as your QR code reader or your scanner. They're going to give you Wise Pilot, which is a GPS tool, as well as the Road Sync, so you can actually use that right off the bat. They're also going to give you some games. The one I'm going to show you is actually going to be Peggle. So here we'll pull up the game Peggle. As you can see here, it's a PopCap game. Now it's actually works fairly decently on this device, especially with the small screen. I actually had expectations where I thought it was going to be pretty hard to play. However, it's really not. I found it not to be difficult at all. Of course, now it won't let me turn it down while I'm in the application. That's not too good. But as you can see here, I'm actually playing the game, and I can just simply shoot my little ball, and hit all these other marbles. Simple as that. So I'm playing Peggle on a 2.5-inch screen. It is very small. There's times when it's a little finicky when you're trying to move the actual target because it is so small. You know, your thumb may hit a few different points at once, and it kind of goes a little haywire. But to be very honest, it is pretty accurate from what I can tell. And now it's time for the Fabled browser test. Now, I'm not going to compare this browser side by side with another device, simply because it would probably not be fair based on the processor speed. So instead, I'm just going to show it on its own so you guys can make your own opinion. So open up the browser here. I'm going to tilt it up so we go back in. Now, Pocketnow.com is already pre-filled in, so we'll go ahead and press the return key. As you see here, it's loading. Now, where it's sitting right now in terms of the status bar, it will sit there for about 20-30 seconds typically before that goes away. So there's some sort of code that it still has to finalize. I actually believe it might be the scaling of the page itself to this resolution because it is very different. Now we're all set, so now we can browse through. As you can see here, it's fairly smooth. There are times where it gets a little choppy, but you do not, once again, you do not have multi-touch, so you have to zoom out, with this browser at least, using these magnifying tools over here. And that will give you pretty much the full view of the page itself. Alright guys, and that's going to do it for the second part of my software overview video. Be sure to stay tuned for the upcoming final review on the Sony Ericsson X10 Mini. As always, if you like this video or any of our videos, give us a thumbs up and please leave a comment for any input you may have. Thanks guys.